Hello, and a very warm welcome to the Golden Wellness Guide, the podcast dedicated to helping you navigate your golden years with health, vitality, and confidence. I'm your host, and it's a true privilege to be spending this time with you today. Before we dive into our very important topic, if this is your first time listening, please consider hitting that subscribe or follow button. It ensures you won't miss out on future episodes. And for our returning listeners, thank you for being a part of this community. A like or a positive review always helps others find us, and we'd be so grateful for it. Today, we're going to have a frank and hopeful conversation about a topic that I know is on many of our minds: stroke. Just hearing the word can make you feel a little uneasy, and that's completely understandable. But my goal over the next 40 minutes or so is to take that feeling of uncertainty and replace it with confidence. We're going to shed light on what a stroke really is, demystify why it happens, and most importantly, walk through the practical, powerful steps you can take to protect yourself and your loved ones. Knowledge, after all, is the best medicine. So find a comfortable spot, perhaps grab a cup of tea, and let's start this journey to better brain health together.
All right, so let's get right to the heart of it. What exactly is a stroke? For many years, you might have heard people call it a stroke of bad luck or just a random accident. But we know now with absolute certainty that a stroke is not an accident. It's a medical event with clear, understandable causes. The simplest and most accurate way to think of a stroke is as a brain attack. This is a really helpful comparison because most of us are familiar with the concept of a heart attack. In a heart attack, the blood supply to the heart muscle is blocked. Well, in a stroke, the very same thing happens, but it happens in the brain. The flow of blood to a part of your brain gets suddenly cut off. Your brain is the command center for your entire body, and it's an incredibly busy organ. It needs a constant, uninterrupted supply of blood to deliver oxygen and nutrients to the brain cells. Without that oxygen, brain cells can start to get sick and die within just a few minutes. This is why you will hear me and doctors everywhere repeat this crucial phrase over and over. Time is brain. Every single second counts. So how does this blockage or interruption happen? There are two main culprits, two main types of stroke. Let's think of the blood vessels in your brain like the plumbing system in your house. 1. The ischemic stroke, the clogged pipe. This is the most common type of stroke by a long shot, making up nearly 9 out of 10 cases. An ischemic stroke happens when a blood vessel that feeds the brain gets blocked. Imagine a pipe in your kitchen getting clogged with grease and debris until water can no longer flow through. That's exactly what happens here. A sticky substance called plaque can build up on the artery walls, and a blood clot can form on that plaque, sealing off the pipe. Or a clot can form somewhere else in the body, very often in the heart, and travel through the bloodstream until it gets stuck in a smaller artery in the brain. Either way, the result is a clog that starves a part of the brain of blood. And then there's the hemorrhagic stroke, or the leaky pipe. This type is less common, but it's also very serious. Instead of a clog, a hemorrhagic stroke happens when a blood vessel in the brain bursts or leaks. Imagine an old, weak pipe in your wall suddenly rupturing. The blood then spills into the brain tissue, creating pressure and damaging the surrounding cells. The most common cause for this type of leak is long-term, uncontrolled high blood pressure, which puts constant stress on the artery walls, weakening them over time until they can break. So, you have a clog or a leak. Regardless of the cause, the outcome is the same. A part of the brain is injured. And the specific effects of the stroke, whether it affects your ability to speak, to see, to walk, or to remember, depend entirely on which part of the brain's command center was damaged. The most important thing to take away from this first part is that a stroke is a medical emergency where every second is precious. It's not something to wait and see about. It's a direct attack on the brain that requires immediate action. And in our next section, we'll talk about what makes those pipes, our arteries, weak or prone to clogging in the first place.
Part 2. The Why. Unpacking your personal risk factors. Welcome back. In the first part, we established that a stroke is a brain attack caused by a clog or a leak in a blood vessel. Now that leads to the most important question of all. What causes our blood vessels, our body's vital plumbing, to become vulnerable in the first place? And more importantly, what can we do about it? Many of the answers lie in what we call risk factors. And here's the most hopeful message I can share with you today. The majority of the most powerful risk factors for stroke are within our power to manage. This isn't about luck, it's about taking charge. Let's start with the biggest one, the one that doctors call the silent killer for a very good reason. High blood pressure or hypertension. Here's a question for you. When was the last time you had your blood pressure checked? Not just a casual check at the pharmacy, but a real conversation with your doctor about it. Do you truly know what those two numbers, the top one and the bottom one, mean for the health of your brain every single day? Many of us don't, and that's okay. Let's clear it up. Imagine a garden hose. If you turn the water on at a normal, gentle pressure, the hose works perfectly for years. But what if you cranked that pressure up to full blast and left it on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? Over time, that constant, high-powered force would wear down the inside of the hose, making it stiff, weak, and likely to crack. That is exactly what high blood pressure does to your arteries. It's a constant, hammering force against their delicate inner walls. This relentless pressure does two dangerous things. It can weaken a spot on the artery wall so much that it eventually bursts, causing a hemorrhagic or leaky pipe stroke. It creates tiny injuries on the artery lining, which become sticky spots where cholesterol and other debris can collect, forming plaque. This leads to an ischemic or clogged pipe stroke. So what can you do? First, know your numbers. A normal reading is generally considered to be less than 120/80. Your doctor can tell you what your personal target should be. If your numbers are high, the most powerful tool you have, besides any medication your doctor prescribes, is reducing the salt in your diet. Have you ever stopped to read the sodium label on a can of soup or a frozen dinner? It can be shocking. Cooking more meals at home, using herbs and spices for flavor instead of salt, and choosing fresh foods over processed ones can make a world of difference. All right, let's move on to the next piece of the puzzle. We hear the words good cholesterol and bad cholesterol all the time, but does it ever feel like a confusing chemistry lesson? What does it actually mean for the food on your plate and the health of your arteries? Let's simplify it. Think of it like this. LDL cholesterol is the lousy cholesterol. Imagine LDL as little trucks that dump sticky garbage into your arteries. If you have too many of these trucks, they create piles of garbage, or plaque, that narrow the roadway. HDL cholesterol is the healthy cholesterol. Imagine HDL is the cleanup crew. These are the garbage trucks that come along, pick up the excess sticky garbage, and haul it away to be disposed of. So how do you lower the lousy stuff and raise the healthy stuff? Your diet is your superpower here. Have you ever tried starting your day with a warm bowl of oatmeal? It's not just comforting, it's packed with something called soluble fiber, which actively grabs onto that lousy cholesterol and helps your body get rid of it. Beans, apples, nuts, and avocados are fantastic for this. Swapping out butter for olive oil when you cook is another simple, powerful change. It's about crowding out the bad with the good. Diabetes. Here's another question many of us face as we get older. Have you, or perhaps your spouse, ever been told you have a touch of sugar or borderline diabetes? Does it sometimes feel less urgent than a full-blown diagnosis? The truth is, any level of chronically high blood sugar is a serious risk factor for stroke. Think of sugar as being sharp and sticky in your bloodstream. When there's too much of it, it's constantly scraping and damaging the delicate lining of your arteries, making them perfect places for the lousy cholesterol we just talked about to stick and build up plaque. People with diabetes have a significantly higher risk of stroke, so managing it is not just about your sugar levels, it's about protecting your brain. What can you do? Monitor your blood sugar as your doctor recommends, but also think about the power of movement. You don't have to run a marathon. Simply taking a gentle 10 to 15-minute walk after your biggest meal of the day can do wonders for helping your body use up that sugar in your bloodstream instead of letting it float around and cause damage. It's a small habit that brings huge rewards for your brain health. These three, blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood sugar, are the big ones. They're intertwined, and managing one often helps the others. By knowing your numbers and making these small, consistent lifestyle choices, you are actively repairing and protecting your body's plumbing system every single day.
Part 3. Other critical risks and your F.A.S.T. action plan. Beyond the big three, there are a couple of other very important risk factors we need to discuss. First is a condition that becomes much more common as we age, called atrial fibrillation, or AFib for short. Have you ever felt a little flutter, a skip, or a racing feeling in your chest? It might be AFib. Think of your heart's natural pacemaker as a skilled drummer keeping a perfect, steady beat. In AFib, that drummer is replaced by a whole group of drummers who are all playing out of sync, causing the heart's upper chambers to quiver or fibrillate instead of beating strongly. When the heart quivers instead of pumping, blood can pool in its nooks and crannies and form clots. If one of those clots breaks free, its first destination is often the brain. And because these clots come from the heart, they are often large and can cause very severe strokes. The danger with AFib is that sometimes you don't feel any symptoms at all. That's why it's so important to have your doctor listen to your heart and check your pulse at your regular checkups. If you are diagnosed with AFib, your doctor will likely prescribe a blood-thinning medication. It is absolutely crucial to take this medication exactly as prescribed to protect yourself. The second lifestyle factor we must talk about is smoking. There's no gentle way to say this. Smoking is disastrous for your blood vessels. It makes your blood stickier and more likely to clot. It damages the lining of your arteries, and it speeds up the formation of plaque. If you smoke, the single most impactful thing you can do for your brain health is to make a plan to quit. Your doctor has resources that can help. Now, we know the risks, but what do you do if you think someone, your spouse, your friend, yourself, is having a stroke right now? This is where we stop and learn the most important acronym of the day. It's called F.A.S.T, and knowing it can save a life. Let's go through it slowly. F is for face. Look at the person's face. Ask them to give you a big smile. Does one side of the face droop or look uneven? Is it numb? A is for arms. Ask the person to raise both of their arms straight out in front of them, like they're holding a pizza box. Can they hold both arms up, or does one arm drift downwards? Is one arm weak or numb? S is for speech. Ask the person to say a simple phrase, something like, "The sky is blue today," or "You can't teach an old dog new tricks." Are they having trouble speaking? Is their speech slurred like they've had too much to drink? Are they using strange words or unable to speak at all? T is for time. This is the most important letter. If you see any one of these signs, a droopy face, a weak arm, or strange speech, it is time to call 911 immediately. Don't hesitate. Don't decide to drive them to the hospital yourself. And please do not wait and see if the symptoms go away. Every minute that passes, more brain cells are lost. Note the time the first symptom appeared and tell the paramedics. That information is vital for the doctors. A special note for the women listening. While F.A.S.T covers the classic signs, women can sometimes experience less obvious symptoms. Things like sudden dizziness, a severe headache that comes out of nowhere, confusion, or overwhelming fatigue. Ladies, trust your intuition. If you suddenly feel profoundly unwell in a way you can't explain, please take it seriously and seek emergency help. Part 4. Your Prevention Toolkit. Taking control of your brain health. Okay, we've talked about the scary parts. Now let's focus on the most empowering part of our conversation, prevention. The vast majority of strokes are preventable. You are not a helpless bystander. You are the most important player on your own health team. The American Heart Association has a wonderful, simple guide called Life's Simple 7. These are 7 steps you can focus on to dramatically reduce your risk of both heart disease and stroke. We've touched on some, but let's put it all together in a practical toolkit. 1 and 2 and 3. Manage blood pressure, control cholesterol, and reduce blood sugar. We've covered these big 3, but they are the foundation of prevention. Know your numbers, take your medications as prescribed, and use your diet as your daily medicine. 4. Get active. Now, when you hear get active, does your mind immediately picture a sweaty gym or running a race? Let's erase that image. For our purposes, getting active means gentle, consistent movement. The goal is about 150 minutes per week. That sounds like a lot, but it's just 20 to 30 minutes a day. And you can even break that up. A 10-minute walk after breakfast, lunch, and dinner gets you to 30 minutes. What kind of activity? Walking is the perfect exercise. It's free, you can do it anywhere, and it's fantastic for your entire body. Tai Chi or chair yoga are wonderful for balance, flexibility, and strength, which are all crucial as we age. Swimming or water aerobics are amazing because the water supports your joints, so you can get a great workout with no impact. The key is to find something you enjoy and to start slow. Eat better. This is where you have so much power. Instead of thinking about a strict diet, think about making smart, healthy swaps. A great model is the Mediterranean style of eating. It's not complicated, it just means focusing on lots of fruits and vegetables. Try to eat the rainbow. The different colors represent different nutrients. Whole grains like oatmeal, brown rice, and whole wheat bread instead of the white processed versions. Lean proteins like chicken, and especially fish. Fatty fish like salmon is packed with omega-3s, which are great for your brain. And healthy fats from sources like avocados, nuts, seeds, and especially olive oil. It's about eating more real whole foods and fewer things that come in a box or a bag. 6. Lose weight. This can be a sensitive topic. Let's not focus on the number on the scale or fitting into old clothes. Let's focus on health. If you are carrying extra weight, losing even a small amount, just 5 to 10% of your body weight, can have a massive positive effect. It can lower your blood pressure, your blood sugar, and your cholesterol. It takes a huge strain off your entire system. The best way to do this isn't crash dieting, but by following the get active and eat better steps we just talked about. 7. Stop smoking. I have to say it one more time. If you smoke, quitting is the single most powerful preventative step you can take. Full stop. And I'll add an unofficial number 8. Manage stress and stay connected. Chronic stress can raise your blood pressure. Finding healthy ways to relax, whether it's gardening, listening to music, practicing deep breathing, or spending time with your grandchildren, is important. Staying socially connected with friends and family is also incredibly protective for both your mental and physical health. Part 5. A message of hope and your path forward. We've covered a tremendous amount of information. We've talked about the mechanics of a stroke, the factors that put us at risk, how to spot the signs, and a whole toolkit of ways to prevent one. I want to end on a message of profound hope. The world of stroke medicine has been revolutionized. With modern treatments like clot-busting medications, TPA, and procedures to physically remove large clots from the brain, thrombectomy, doctors can now stop a stroke in its tracks and significantly improve the chances of a good recovery, but only if you get to the hospital in time. This brings us back to F.A.S.T, and time is brain. And even if a stroke does occur, the journey doesn't end there. Recovery is a path of incredible courage, involving physical, occupational, and speech therapists who do amazing work helping people regain their independence. So please, take what you've learned today not as a source of fear, but as a source of power. You hold the keys to your brain health. You can make choices every single day with the food you eat, the way you move, and the way you work with your doctor that build a stronger, more resilient future. You are not a victim of your health. You are its most powerful guardian. Stroke is preventable, it is treatable, and it is beatable. Thank you so much for joining me on the Golden Wellness Guide. If you found this episode valuable, please share it with one person you care about. It's a conversation that can truly save a life. And don't forget to subscribe so we can continue on this journey to health and wellness together. Until next time, be well and take wonderful care of yourself.